Disclaimer: some portions of this video may be glitchy, resulting in flashes of gameplay on the screen. Attempts to correct in post-production resulted in minimizing most, but not all of these flashes. Viewer discretion is advised to those with sensitivities to flashes.
Hi, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Danny and welcome to the first ever Saturday speed build. So for this build, I decided that I wanted to kick it back to the Sims 2 game and recreate one of my favorite houses that came in the Sims 2 game. It is not an exact replica, I am telling you that right now because I'm looking at this reference picture that I found, of course, today, and the outside does not match, but it gets the essence of the house, and that's really what I was going for. Like I said, I played in this house. This is probably my go-to for any family with kids. I loved this house for, I don't even know why. I think probably because when I got the game, it was the first house that I picked, and I just got an attachment to it. So I loved it so much. Building it in this game, honestly, gave me such nostalgic feelings. I was very emotional looking at reference pictures, and when I put that little preview video together that you guys just saw, adding the Sims 2 music to it was like a last minute idea, and it brought everything together and it made it so worth it because this took me like 2 hours to do, and it was a process, mostly because I was using reference pictures again to decide how to size things. So I spared you guys most of the resizing details. You can see me kind of messing with it right here, but it took a little bit to size this correctly. But we finally got it, and I used Windows to figure out the sizing of this because in the Sims 2 game, windows only could be snapped to a grid. You didn't have the option to do half windows. So like right now, as I'm putting the windows in, I'm realizing that it's not matching the reference photos that I had, and I had to move those stairs so many times. By the end of it, I hated those stairs. Finally found the right place again after like the 5th or 6th time of moving them. And then I was very, very happy. This house started off, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with it exactly. I just, through building it, kind of came up with this idea that it was for a young family. I connect the parents' main bedroom to the nursery in the front that you see with that sliding door. I do change that later. I do keep it connected, but I wanted the nursery to feel like it was a part of the family's room. The kitchen, I decided to make it look a little bit more I don't want to say modern because with that wallpaper it's not, but just more updated, I guess. I use parentheses for that because it is homey. They do have a lot of kids. By the end of making this video, I kind of established that they had a set of twin boys, a little toddler girl, and then they were expecting another baby. So they obviously didn't have a ton of money, but they liked to keep their home pretty nice. So I kind of considered it kind of almost like a starter home in a way. But I don't know. I guess the price tag for it's a little bit more than a starter home. But it does have that, like, family lives here, gathers here feeling. This bathroom is probably my favorite bathroom that I've ever decorated. And I think it's because I went so far out of my comfort zone for it. I went with yellow cabinets, which I've never done before. Not cabinets, but counters. Yellow counters, which I've never done before. But I wanted to make the house, again, look a little bit like it's updated as much as they can. I use this bathtub with the plants in it, and I don't know, I just had this thought of like, well, this bathroom maybe it just isn't, it's not updated enough to be usable, but they've got this tub, and the mom wants to make it somehow functional because that's just what moms do. They always find a use for something. Moms are amazing. Shout out to moms everywhere for figuring out a use for things that most people would be like, I don't know what to do with that. But it was actually when I was doing this bathroom, like I said, I think that I said this already, but that I decided that it's going to be a family home. And I I don't know what about the bathroom was just like, it's going to be a family home, but that's what it turned into. I went ahead and I decided not to do carpet for this section. In the Sims 2 game, it does come with carpet in it, but I wanted to make a more distinct, I guess, purpose for each room. So this turned into the dining room. I do use a base game table and base game chairs for this, I believe. I tried not to use a ton of custom content, guys, because I know not everybody has access to it. However, there were certain things that, like, for clutter and decoration purposes, I had to use custom content, so I apologize now. This will be up on the gallery, so if you're finding pieces that are missing, you can re-add them with what you have in your game. I would love to say that I can go ahead and give you a list of custom content, but I am horrible at that. Maybe if you ask, I can find something, but I'm going to apologize now because I probably don't know. This living room was a struggle for me. You saw me kind of rearrange the furniture a couple times. I finally figured it out. I decided again, like, if it was going to be a family home, I wasn't going to add a lot of planters. Originally, I was going to put a bunch of plants, but then I was like, if you've got toddlers and kids running around, you don't want a bunch of planters. Learned that the hard way when my friend lived with me and her kid knocked over my mom's huge planter, got dirt everywhere. So it's just not conducive to having a family-friendly home to have a bunch of planters. So I really made sure that I packed this room with a ton of kid stuff. I made it, toys everywhere, just so that you knew, like, this is a family home and kids live here. Kids probably rule the roost here, and the parents wouldn't have it any other way. When I made the family to be in here, I kind of fell in love with them a little bit, and the story that I randomly generated in my head, I ended up loving a lot. I went ahead and I put new paints on the different rooms. I like to start with a white color for everything until I figure out what I'm doing with it. So I made the twins' bedroom, you saw, blue, the nursery is yellow, gender neutral, and then the little girl's room is pink. I'm not somebody who thinks that it has to be a certain color for a gender. I just really wanted to embrace that, like, I guess try new things that I usually don't use, because usually I do a lot of neutral colors in my builds, and I wanted to kick it back to the Sims 2 game, which is a lot of wild wallpapers and carpets. I could not find a blue that matched the original blue that was in the Sims 2 game for the carpet, because that was a blue. For the twins' bedroom, it's such a weird long space that I tried to fit normal beds in, and then I remembered bunk beds were finally a thing in the Sims game for Sims 4, so I went ahead and switched it to bunk beds just because it made the most use of the space. In the past, if you didn't want too many kids, I have used this as a playroom, just a really long playroom, almost kind of reminiscent of the movie The Pacifier, how that playroom was. Switching over here pretty soon to the little girl's room, I love how this turned out. If I had to pick a favorite room that wasn't a bathroom randomly, it'd be this room. I did use custom content for this bed. I believe this is from the Tiny Travelers CC pack. I just couldn't find a bed that came with the game that matched the vibe that I was going for this room. but I do love how this turned out. I think it's so, so cute and sweet, and I just, being in there just like, ugh, I love it. And then the nursery. The nursery I think is also so cute. I love that bassinet that came with vampires, the vampire pack. I wish that it had come just originally, because I think that adding that little like lace to it just makes it look really sweet and cute. I add a bookcase in here because I just wanted to like take up the space, but that was a bold choice because that bookcase was hard to fill with clutter. I did have to resort to custom content, and it still didn't even look completely full just because the clutter picks to like the one spot. And here I will change the door here in a second because I decide that I just don't like the look. It doesn't match the rest of the house. And I bounce back and I add some new lights around. I am sorry in advance because I decorate like I have ADHD, like I do. So I bounce from room to room to room. I find something that I think works, and I put it where I think it is, and then I forget what I was doing originally. Onto the parents' bedroom, I kept it kind of older looking. Again, like they haven't really had the time to update it. They also don't really care so much. The bedroom, I will admit, is kind of lacking just because it's a weird space again. There wasn't a lot of room to place things, and honestly, I feel like for a parent's bedroom, they don't need a sitting area when it's a family home. They don't, it's a bedroom, that's all it is. I don't like putting TVs in the bedrooms because the Sims don't sleep, even though normally people would have a TV in their bedroom. The last little bathroom that I'm going to decorate here, I think this is the last room in the house that I really decorate besides the hallway. This is the family bathroom. And again, I just feel like I like decorating bathrooms for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably the weirdest thing to enjoy decorating. And I think maybe it's because bathrooms have a lot of clutter that you can fill it. So it's more fun to make it look lived in. I call it clutterful. Colorful and cluttered is the word that I came up with in one of my other videos. Here, I spent a lot of time trying to find something that would fit in this little section, and I eventually did. I found it from the pet stuff pack. It's like a little shelf unit thing that fits perfectly into that little alcove there. And then I layer some other shelves over top of it to make it look more built in. And then I clutter it with usual, I don't believe that there's any custom content in this part, but it's just clutter that comes with the packs to make it look more like it's used by kids and a mom who's trying to keep it together with all of her kids. I bounce back to the rooms and add different lighting again. When I originally build, I add those like little saucer lights, and then I go back and add the actual lights that fit the vibe of where I'm building the things. So I feel like those saucer lights are so powerful, but they're like weirdly powerful for how small they are, and it just doesn't seem realistic to me. And here I am decorating the hallway just to add a little bit more flair to it. And I just think that the whole house came together so well. I'm so glad it did. It did take a while. 2 hours I built it. And I built it actually on my birthday. I went out to dinner with my boyfriend. We had some fun watching some TV. And I just kept it low-key. I just turned 28, so it's not like a huge thing for me. And then he fell asleep at 8 because he's a hardworking dude. And I was like, I'm going to build on The Sims. So that's what I did. You just saw me add some landscaping to the house. I kept it, I wouldn't say minimal, but then I remember what I did to the front. I didn't really keep it minimal. I layered a lot of different plants. I did try not to use custom content for the plants just because I feel like that's really hard. But the rocks around the plants are custom content, simply because I was too lazy to shrink the original rocks down, but you can do that. I've done it before. It does look really nice, but I went ahead and just used tiny little rocks because at the time that I was making this, like I said, it was 2 hours long, and it was like 11:30 at night, and my hand was cramping up. The joys of being older. In the last little section here, we are adding the landscaping and some toys to the backyard. And I really wanted this tree to look like it was up on a hill, but it wasn't blending in well, so I kind of hid it with some plants. It worked for the purpose of what I was trying to do it for. If you have a way of adjusting the plants to make it look not so floaty, that'd be awesome. I added a little basketball hoop for the sporty sim, a fun little pool for the toddler, and we're getting towards the end of the video, so we're going to go to some screenshots here. But I appreciate you watching this video. Everything has been play tested. It does work functionally. Fits a family of like 4 or 5, 6 a lot of kiddos, but we're going to get in the screenshots. Thank you again for watching, and I hope that you'll check back again for other updates and another speed build Saturday next week.